Hey everyone, it's Jeannie from A1, and I'm getting ready to stitch out the embellishments from Hoppin Down the Bunny Trail. We are so close to being done. So here is Hoppin Down the Bunny Trail, which is a bench pillow, although I've seen people recreate it many different ways. But let's go ahead and get started. What you're going to need is, from your embellishment kit, your felt, and you can use any felt. And then you need your flexi foam. I have so many scraps. I'm going to be using some scraps for it. And then these are going to be for the bunny ear. It does ask you for a matching bobbin for flint, which is this color right here. And I think I told you I try to use up everything in my bobbin holder. I try to stay to one bobbin holder, and then I have like the little ones that I use per each project. These are the bobbin boats. These are my favorite. If you don't have this, because look, it doesn't come out, hold your thread. I know it's a little bit messy, but you don't have to put a clip around your bobbin. So I will toss this into my bag or my sewing box when I'm gonna go sew at the store. And then this is my overall bobbins. So flint to me is like a light gray. And I have this darker gray in my stash. I'm just going to use this just to use it up. And let's see. And that's it. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and let's turn on the machine. Oh, I see Adam, which means he's working on the deck. My timing's horrible. He hasn't been here all weekend. What hoop are we using for this? The design is a 4x4, and we're going to use water-soluble stabilizers. So let me go embroidery, pocket. We're going to go, and there's only one of them that you're making. I brought this in via design database transfer, not USB. So I'm going to go to that symbol, and there is my bunny. Let's go ahead and set it. I'm going to choose my hoop size. And let's go 4x4 so you know exactly how much room you have. I'm going to turn up my max speed. I'm going to go fast. I always go as fast as I can. And let me go grab my stabilizer and my hoop. So do you remember I had that piece of stabilizer and I bumped everything to the side so I could reuse it? And then I didn't cut it. I just like left it. So now I have a big enough piece that I can do my bunny in this. And I like to double my wash away. It doesn't say to in this, but I'm going to double it. And remember, your hoop has a little arrow on the top. There it is. And that arrow should be pointing at the other arrow that's at the top of your hoop. So I wonder if I could do it this way. Does it fit? If I do it this way, I can snug it all away. I'm sorry, I can't help myself. I'm always looking for ways to save stabilizer. Because why waste? Ugh. Okay, got to open this up a little bit. There, that's totally fine. And I'm going to snug him over here, which means I can use the very edge. You know what? I know some of you are like, she is ridiculous. Throw it away, which is part of my therapy, right? I used to save strips and like sew them together. I don't do that anymore. And but I hear from a lot of you who are like, I'm the same way. I can't do it. So we're hooped up. Looks good. Let's go ahead and slide this onto the machine. I'm going to go ahead and, if you look at my screen, so there's my hoop on my machine. Here is my screen. I'm going to go ahead and touch embroidery. That means we're ready to go. We're not changing anything. I am going to go layout, move, and I'm going to scoot my design all the way to the left, because who knows, maybe I can use it to do one more hooping. If not, we'll just throw it away. I do throw things away. So let's go ahead and say okay. And let's look at our instructions. It says load the embroidery file, stitch the bunny base placement line. Color doesn't make a difference, but the first color that is going to make a difference is going to be pink lemonade. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in. So let's go ahead and put that in. We're not skipping steps because there's no quilting right now. So And then after we do this, we're going to do the, what are we going to do? We're going to do the little quilt, which is going to be sewing. And then after we do the quilt, we're going to piece our borders, and then we'll be ready to go for Friday's sew along, which is the plan. And then I'm going to try and stitch some wallflower because I have the May design. It is really cute. Okay, I like to either go here where I go forward and backward stitches. I at least like to touch my layout button to have my color list come up, okay? And it's going to be a lot of placement, tack down, placement, tack down. So go ahead and hit start. And this is going to be the placement line for the flexi foam. So get your flexi foam. So I love the Kimberbell flexi foam because the Kimberbell flexi foam is really thin, or at least it was for a while. This is a leftover piece. Let me see if he's big enough. Oh, I think he's just big enough. He's just big enough. Okay. Don't let me scare you. When it gets to the edge, you need something to kind of hold it down. So now I'm going to do my tack down. And then I'm going to get my favorite snips. And we're going to trim the foam close to the stitch line. It was as though that piece was just waiting to become this bunny. I think this was like white. It really has yellowed, hasn't it? So you want to trim it up close. Let me go ahead and pop this out. Oop, I got one of my stitches. Be careful, you don't want to trim this stitch. But if you get one by accident, it's okay. Just don't get a whole bunch. You're going to have fabric that's going to go right on top of it. There's my bunny. And watch, trash can. Go ahead and slide that on. Next step says stitch the background placement line. We don't need it because the background is going to go right around the bunny. We're going to skip that step. This is where we go if we want to skip steps. Touch this button down at the bottom and we're going to go to the next step. Remember, turquoise is placement, orange is tack down. So we're going to put the felt down. And I'm a sprayer. Let me go get my table. Right now, my sewing room is the guest room, and it is the laundry room. It is the everything room. I know you guys have rooms like that too. So I want to be like super fancy like all the other people on the videos that you watch, but we are super not fancy. We are super just make it work. So I just sprayed one little side of it. I'm going to lay that down on top. And I'm going to read to see if it is trim as desired or trim close to the stitch line, and it says stitch the background placement line. We're skipping that. We're going to step 4. Stitch the background tack down trimming line in a color you can see. How do you know that? Because it shows a little eye. This one just is like any like neutral color, and this is a color you can see. So I think I'll see my pink on top of my gray. Stitch the background tack down trimming line, remove the tape. Do not trim the felt at this time. Okay. I want you to leave at least 1/8 of an inch or something all the way around your bunny. Let's make sure I have that up beyond the ears. We do. I'm going to go ahead and press it down, and I am not, let me feel, yes. I am not going to, I don't even know what I was going to say, but I am going to keep this handy just in case, because you never know when you need a finger. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm going to stop because I did not know it was going to go so far outside that line, and I am right at the edge, and I thought it was going to go like more around the other line, and it didn't. I'm going to pause this while I remove some stitches. Sometimes it's good to watch this. What I like to do is I like to pull 1 stitch from the front, 1 stitch from the back. And then what it lets me do is it lets me grab this stitch, and then it pulls the back one up. Do you see? I don't know if you can see that. Whoops, that's further. That's closer. Hang on. So I can see how it lets me to pull that. You got to cut one from the back too, and then you can just pull and just remove like a little stitch here or there. And you don't have to like get every single little stitch. It's hard when it's fluffy though. Because it wants to up. Let me pull you up. I perfected this. Okay, my kid is home, so he came just charging right in. I had to yell at him. Okay. Oop. Can you even see that? This is what happens when you try to, sometimes when you try to save, you fail, right? That's okay. It's relaxing, right? This is real life. Real life. Real life problems. I don't even know what is going on here. Maybe it's easier from the back side because there are, well, the stabilizer just happens to be a little bit, so I could go from there. I think there was a locking stitch somewhere in there. What I love about these are they have tweezers on the end. So I can kind of pick at a knot, or just pull at it instead of picking at it like you have to with the end of the there we go. Okay, ready. Let's try that again. We're going to move it right to the middle of this, and that should give us plenty of room. And then I have half of it left in case I want to do another bunny. We got to go back to the beginning of this step. That goes to the next step. That goes back to the beginning of this step. If I hit it again, it would go to the previous step. And let's do it one more time. Much better. Okay, it says, do not trim the felt at this time. Now we're going to stitch the inner ear placement line. It wants you to do it in pink lemonade. I'm just going to hit start. And while it's doing that, I'm going to spray this with a little spray in my spray tent. So I love my good old KK100. This is the spray that I use. It's a big bottle. It lasts forever. We sell it at the store. It's $14.99. And then I use my spray tent. This is my dime spray tent. I can't live without it. I used to use an old pizza box, but Momo trampled the pizza box. And then it looked really bad in the videos. But I kept using it for probably 2 more years. Okay, put down your fabric. And then you are going to do your tack down and trim close to the stitch line. So he trampled it. It was hard for me to give up. I don't like change. But I finally said, these people are going to think I am just destitute or something. I can't even afford anything else. But I like stuff. I like my old, it's like old slippers. I like my old comfy slippers. Even if I get new fancy ones. Okay, we're going to trim close to the stitch line. You want something that's curved so that the tip doesn't go into your felt and just like cut it and stuff. You know what I mean? So a curve away is important. I do not like spring forward. Last night was spring forward, or yesterday, and I could not fall asleep. I'm glad it's not a work day. And then it says, now we are on step number 7. So I love Kimberbell instructions because it gives you a written instruction and then a picture instruction. So we just did step number 6. Step number 7 says stitch the inner ear decorative outline. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit start. I have my pink lemonade in there. And then we're going to stitch the nose and cheek fill. And that's also going to be pink lemonade. So you're just going to leave that in for the next couple of steps. Step 9, we're going to stitch the eyes, whiskers, and mouth detail. So this is the little bunny that goes in the boot. You could blow this up and make it even bigger if you wanted. Make it a little stuffy. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hit start again because now it's going to do the nose and the cheek. Overall, this is a 4-minute stitch out. I don't know why my video is at 18 minutes. I must be slow. You could use a little topper. Sometimes people will use topper in their embroidery, and that will keep the stitches floating on top instead of sinking down into the felt, but it looks fine. And it didn't recommend it in the instructions either. All right, let's go ahead and put our shadow in, your dark gray. You could do black if you wanted. shadow. Ooh, ooh, shadow. It is going to do the eyes, whiskers, and mouth detail. You could do a matching bobbin, but I feel like all my stuff's looked really great without having to match the bobbin. Yep, looks amazing. I don't know if it's my machine that makes it look amazing, my needle, or if it's the thread or the bobbin thread. I think it's everything. When you get good ingredients, usually you get good results. Okay, you're gonna need the other half of this felt for the back. So good thing I didn't put it right in the middle. What if you did put it right in the middle? Just get any other felt. If you have any other felt in your room, you could put fabric on the back too. It's gonna get tucked into a boot, so you're really not gonna see the back. What if you wanted to make two bunnies? Then I would keep the felt for the front, and then you could do some really cute fabric in the back and make it look even more special than just a gray bunny. All right, so it says to turn the hoop to the back, so I'm going to pull this off. When I pull my hoops off, like this one is a little bit sticky. I don't know if you can see it, but when I pull it off, I hold it here. When I slide them on, I hold it here, but I hold it here so that this part doesn't move at all. If it does ever move, just turn your machine off and back on again. Here we go. Dogs are barking. I'm just going to cut this in half for the back side. I never really cut my embellishments until afterwards. Sorry. They're working on our deck. Okay. It wants you to take this, turn your hoop to the back, place the remaining black background felt completely covering the back of the project. So I'm going to put it down here, and it wants you to tape it into place. I'm going to use my transport tape, which is my favorite. Transport is the best. And I'm just going to put a piece up here and a piece down here. I'm going to make sure my corners don't fold under. So we're going to lay it down, slide it back on. And before I slide it on, it says change the bobbin thread to match the top thread. Remember, I'm kind of matching. I'm just using stuff up. I'm going to use this gray that I already have wound. It's kind of like my scraps of fabric. I don't like having tons of bobbins. Okay, you're going to change your upper thread to flint, which is that warm gray. I apologize. Shouldn't be too much of that. Okay, now it says, so turn the hoop to the back, place the remaining background felt, completely covering the back of the project, tape the corners and sides in place, change the bobbin thread to match the top, stitch the bunny satin outline. I was just reading it one more time just to make sure it didn't want me to trim, but it doesn't look like it does. If it doesn't look like it does want us to trim, so we are just going to do our satin outline. Then we're going to change the bobbin thread back to a neutral color. Remove. So it looks like they have quite a bit of a border stitch, like a 1/4 inch. Oh, you know what? This right here, the pink, that's going to be our trim line. So once we're done with this, change the bobbin back to a neutral color. It's kind of to remind us. And then we're going to trim all layers of felt and stabilizer directly along the trimming line. If desired, you can use a wet cotton swab to remove the excess stabilizer on the edges and lay flat to dry. And then while it's doing that, let's get our stuff ready for the next embellishment. I'm going to clean up a little bit. Your bunny is done. We do want to trim all those like icky jump threads. Because look, he looks cute, but he looks cuter when you clean him up. So don't forget, pair of tweezers that you can hold your thread with. And then these are my side hoppers. Is that it? That can't be it. That's all I have to trim? I guess so. All right, let's pop them out. I'm gonna grab my, I love these. These are my Kai 4.5-inch scissors, which I absolutely love. Sometimes you don't want a big old blade, or I love my Perfect scissors. So these are like my favorite, like just medium-sized scissors. But you're gonna cut right on that pink line. And I go, can I... Make it look cute. Okay, and then you have some of those stray threads. You just kind of pull them and get rid of all of those pink threads or whatever color you used as your visible color. And then if you want, you can get rid of the stabilizer in between the layers. If you do that though, he does like, he'll make everything stiff. I don't like that thread. He looks pretty cute though, although I don't like this back part here. Let me trim that in. I'm going to trim this. And if I were to do anything, I would just kind of pull it back and trim this way. I'd recommend don't wet it. Because like I said, this stuff is like Elmer's glue and it's going to make it all stiff and you don't want that. So you can just pull back a little bit, make sure you're not cutting the felt underneath. And I'm going to kind of just trim away a little bit. And this is just the perfectionist in me. I'm like, oh, I don't want to see it. I want it to just be fluffy felt, right? Almost done. Sorry. It doesn't say to do this, but I just can't seem to help myself. I just want it to look so cute. And I don't want you to see the stabilizer. Come in from this direction too. Okay. I think we look pretty good. There might be just one little piece right here in the top of the ear. And our bunny is done. And then I think the next thing we're going to do is let's do the little blanket embellishment. And I will start a new video for that. Okay, here's my little bunny. And he's looking cute and with no sign of stabilizer. In between, like I said, I wouldn't do the water because it'll make it hard and crunchy on the edges. He's so cute and fluffy. All right, I'll see you in just a little bit.